Hi, football officials. It's Brian Donovan from the WMOA. Today's topic is going to be free kicks, also known as the kickoff. We'll talk about mechanics from the state, the MHSAA Football Officials Manual, also known as the Mechanics Manual. Today we'll be looking in at Section 5 on free kicks, beginning on page 115. We'll talk about the kickoff for a 5-person crew and then modifications if you have a 4-person crew. Let's take a look at a schematic in the mechanics manual showing a football field from a bird's eye view. And these schematics follow specific instructions for each position on the officiating crew. Talks about your pre-play responsibilities and also your responsibilities during the play. These instructions allow us to be in the best position to see potential fouls and to rule on the action on the field, and very importantly, to collaborate together as a crew to each be watching the positions on the field. On this bird's eye view, again, we're overhead here, we see different colors indicating different responsibilities by region on the field. We'll talk about those in a minute. We see the back judge is on the press box side along with the line judge. We see the referee back on the goal line, and we see the head linesman and the umpire on the far side of the field, on the visitors' side of the field. The ball is placed at the 40-yard line unless adjusted by penalty. This is the normal free kick line for the kicking team, which is shown in yellow. The players on the receiving team are shown in white. And you'll notice we have a legal formation of 11 players on each side. Let's zoom in and take a look at each of these officials and their responsibilities, and then we'll look at plays immediately after that to show you what it looks like live. Okay, we've zoomed in here a bit on the kicking team and the front line of the receiving team, and specifically on the back judge, who's located on the free kick line or the kicker's restraining line here at the 40. You notice that the restraining line for the receiving team is midfield. These lines are always 10 yards apart on a free kick. So if there would be a penalty, let's say, and we'd be kicking from the 35 of the kicking team, the receiving line, the new receiving line for the receivers, the team R, would be right here at the 45-yard line, and conversely the other way. The back judge will be in the center of the field and hand the football to the kicker. The back judge should count the Team K players and make sure that we have 11. And if we don't, just notify the sideline that we need more players or fewer players. We want to make sure that there's a minimum of 4 players on each side of the football before the formation is set. By rule, Team K must have 4 players on each side of the ball when the ball's kicked. So it's possible they could line up with 3 and move somebody over, but if we can avoid that, that would be better. The referee way down here at the end of the field will be in the best position to rule on that at the kick, but try to get that set up correctly. Also by rule, and this is, by the way, Rule 6 that we're looking at in the rule book and case book, Section 1 for free kicks, all Team K players must be within 5 yards of the free kick line, except for the kicker. Okay, the kicker's allowed to go more than 5 yards back to get a running start to kick. So these other Team K players are all legal. They have to be outside of the 35-yard line, not touching the 35-yard line. But otherwise, they can be in any configuration here as long as they don't encroach on the free kick line. So the back judge, hand the ball, jog over, count the players on Team K, make sure they're positioned outside the 35, and have 4 players on each side of the line, and then raise your hand to indicate to the referee that you are ready for play. Umpire, you're also counting Team K. Make sure that all of Team R players on the front line do not touch, in this case, the 50-yard line, but wherever their restraining line is 10 yards apart from the free kick line. Make sure they don't encroach before the ball's kicked. Make sure they don't touch that line or step over before that ball is kicked. The average fan would call encroachment offsides, but it is in fact encroachment. We don't have offsides in high school. Reason being is once you are offsides, you've encroached on the neutral zone, or in this case, the free kick zone, and the play is dead in high school. We throw the flag high in the air, we blow our whistle, we make two big swipes with our arms overhead, and we kill the play. So there's no ability to jump back onside, if you will, and therefore there's no offsides in high school. Now, once the ball is kicked, and back judge, you'll want to rule on this line. You'll want to look closely to make sure that no Team K player actually steps over the line. On a regular kickoff that goes somewhat deep, in other words, not an onside kick, which we'll talk about another time, but a regular kickoff, our philosophy is if these Team K players, as they run up, if they have 1 foot over the line but have not yet stepped beyond the 40, they are considered okay. We will let that play go. However, if a player has stepped beyond the 40 when the ball is kicked, then we will blow that play dead, toss your flag high in the air, blow your whistle loudly, and two big swipes with your arms overhead to kill the play. After the ball is kicked legally without foul, and the Team K players pass the back judge, you see here, these yellow lines indicate you want to watch the blocks by and on receiving team player number 2 and 3 from your sideline. So this is player 1 is going to be watched by the wing official on the goal line. We'll talk about that in a minute. You're going to watch blocks by and on number 2 and number 3. And then as Team K players pass you, you're going to button hook in about 8 to 10 yards and set up shop right here so that you can view potential blocks and potential fouls from the inside out. Back judge, you've got goal line responsibility all the way down here. If Team R runs the ball back all the way, you've got to be straddling the goal line to rule on a touchdown. Umpire. Once the ball is kicked without foul, you care about the block here on number 2, the block by and on him. Number 1 is covered by the wing official in the back, which we'll talk about. After Team K passes you at the R restraining line, at the 50 in this case, you make a beeline to come in also 8 to 10 yards inside the hash mark, and you set up shop and look inside out for potential fouls. Now, unlike the back judge that has to keep a 20-yard cushion and get to the goal line, umpire, you simply watch action in front of the runner, officiate inside out, and then as the play passes you, you pivot and turn and let all the players pass you and then jog behind the play to mark the ball if they don't score. So umpire and back judge, very important you get 8 to 10 yards deep after the Team K has passed you, and you provide a unique view inside out, so it's important you're in the right spot. Okay, let's take a look at a play from last season, and it's a kickoff play, much like the schematic. Now we're going to look live. We see the free kick line is here on the 40, and we see the back judge is set up right here, and he's indicating that he's ready to go. He has counted the Team K players. He's got them positioned with at least 4 on one side of the kicker. Everybody is inside 5 yards outside of the 35-yard line, with the exception of the kicker. If I was going to nitpick position just a little bit, ideally we move back as far as we can. We want to be on the back of the restricted area, which is this line right here. Okay. Ideally, have your heels on that, or even better, your toes. If we look at the umpire here at the receiver's restraining line, he's in a good position all the way to the back of the restricted area, or again, this area is normally painted white and we call it back of the white. It just gives you a better field of vision. Okay. Before you raise your hand, we've done the count here. The umpire's done the count. We have 11 players. Make sure to look down your sideline. And what I like to say is, hey, coach, everybody step back. We're coming your way. Just a reminder that they be out of the restricted area. Okay. We see here that as coaches are wont to do, this gentleman's starting to step into the restricted area, and we really want to keep that clean. There can be some really violent collisions between officials and players and coaches if they're in that restricted area during a live ball. Okay, so let's watch as this play progresses. We've got everybody in a good formation. The referee has blown the ready for play and given the ready for play signal. And the kicker is going to approach the ball. And I'll stop it just before he kicks. And you see we have a very nice legal formation here. No other K players are encroaching on that line. Nobody even has a step over. So we've got a good, valid kickoff. The ball has remained on the kicking tee. You have to watch that. Sometimes the ball will blow off. Of course, it blows off just a millisecond before the kicker kicks it. If that would happen, that'd be unintentional. We'd kill the play and let them have a re-kick. Okay, so the kick is off. It's good. The umpire is watching this line, and everybody looks good there. So we're going to let Team K pass. Team K has passed the back judge. Let's just back that up a little bit. So back judge, after Team K passes you, you are going to, remember, you're going to button hook in from your position on the 40, button hook in about 8 to 10 yards and set up shop right about here. Okay, and then officiate from the inside out. And remember, you care about blocks by and on number 2 and number 3. The line of scrimmage will have the block back here on the wide side. Block back here on the wide side will be by the other line of scrimmage official back on the pylon. And umpire, where are you going to go? Remember, after Team K passes you, you're going to button hook in inside the hash mark. So on your side of the hash marks, again, 8 to 10 yards. And you care about blocks. Let's get rid of some of these lines here. You care about blocks by and on number 2 here on your side. So you want to maintain that. But let Team K pass you, past the 50. And then again, you're going to button hook in and set up shop on your side of the hash mark, about 8 to 10 yards. Officiate the play inside out, looking for threats. We say don't officiate air, don't officiate players that have no one around them. Look out ahead of the ball carrier. Look in particular for players that are coming, Team R players here in white that are coming backwards. Typically, the Team K players get out ahead of, because they're running at a full start, they get out ahead of the Team R players. And so you want to watch in particular for these players coming backwards, and back judge as well. Watch for these players coming backwards because they might deliver a block in the back. They might deliver a forcible contact from the blind side, which would be an illegal blindside block, and so forth. Just a word here on low blocks. They are never allowed anywhere on a free kick. So if you have a low block by either team, you have a foul.